Hey people, it is Wednesday, April the 10th. Time is 5:04 in the afternoon. It's currently a very pleasant 18 degrees Celsius. I'm here on the east side of downtown Toronto at the corner of Shooter Street and Mutual Street. And we're looking at what appears to be a nice old row of historic townhomes here. But as you can see, right above is a newly completed condo tower. And these townhomes are not quite what they appear because they were completely torn down and then rebuilt in a makeshift fashion, forming a new facade at the base of this condo. They effectively act as some new units and the lobby of the building. And this is what you call facadism, which is a very popular thing here in Toronto with recent developments where they either completely tear down an old building and then rebuild it from the ground up only in facade form on top of or in front of a new structure, or sometimes they retain a couple of the walls and demolish the rest of the structure and then build a new building up behind the walls of the historic building. And we'll be walking past a number of cases of facadism throughout downtown. This one is quite well done though. It looks like they've preserved almost the entire townhouse, but as you can see, or as we will see in a minute, that's not really the case. Got some rush hour traffic going on here. As I said, this was completely torn down. So there was absolutely nothing here when they started construction of this tower. And then they just rebuilt the northern and western sides of the old structure to make it look as convincingly intact as possible. But as you can see, it just sort of goes that far and then the new building begins right there. But that's a really good example of facadism here, done quite well. Other ones aren't done quite as well. So heading south down Mutual Street. Now the question is facadism good or bad? Well, I tend to lean towards good. The way I see it, having even a wall or two or a reconstruction of a historic structure on its original site is better than it being completely erased. And we've already come upon another example of facadism in effect here. You can see they've reinforced the walls of this old building, but the rest of the structure has been demolished. This is a new development at the corner of Mutual and Queen Street East. And you can see the new building starting to rise. And just the wall of the historic building is all that remains. And they did the same thing on Queen Street with another old building. Let's see if I can just get across here. And once again, the walls are being retained reinforced with the steel structure there, but you can see how the old building is all but gone. But when this new building is complete, it will blend right in. And the old facades will look as if they've always been there and never went anywhere. I think Toronto is one of the cities that has embraced facadism more so than any other, in North America at least. I'm walking west along Queen Street East. And there's another example coming up right at the corner of Queen and Church.
Yeah, well, I guess
See this old building on the corner with the turret is being reinforced, but they're tearing down most of the structure once again, leaving the facades on the south side and the west side. And that will form the base of a new condo tower.
Give me a hand, Samira. Give me a hand.
It's not a good time to be walking back and forth across streets and whatnot to get a better look at these buildings. But as you can see, the building is worth preserving, and I believe they'll be restoring it back to its original appearance with a brick facade and taking off that yellow siding. And all the buildings going further up Queen Street there are also getting a similar treatment, as another tower will be rising right beside the one on this corner. So facadism will be extending right up Queen Street here with all these old storefronts. So it'll take us up to Yonge and Queen. And I guess this is also going to be a bit of a rush hour walk. We're at Victoria Street. And there's another example right at the corner of Yonge and Queen. Making my way towards. We've got some construction ongoing here for the new Ontario Line subway. Let's cut through the lobby of this building, and this building is where this next example is, actually, right at the corner, as I was mentioning.
Okay, so
This is an entrance to Queen subway station. I'll get across the street. You can see the old historic building here, former Bank of Montreal building. And looking up Yonge Street. Interesting. And there you can see the old building incorporated into the base of this office tower. This is an earlier example. I'm not sure how far back that goes. It's been here as long as I can remember.
So let's go get some non-alcoholics soon.
that's right.
Right?
And this isn't facadism here. This is just an old building that's being restored in its entirety, and they did a great job with that. They did put an addition on top though. But here's another look at the other side of this old case of facadism. Wonder how many times I'll say facadism in this video. Seem to be stuck on the wrong side of the sidewalk here. Right. So I'm going to make my way down to Adelaide Street as I talk over this obnoxiously loud, ridiculous music that no grown man should be driving around blasting at that level in a car like that. But hey, what do I know? We're at Richmond Street. And yes, there's construction at almost every intersection in the downtown. So I do have a number of buildings in mind for this walk, obviously. I sort of have a route planned out in my mind, but I might come across another example I hadn't thought of and make a detour at some point to get a better look. The joys of downtown.
Glasses.
Let's hope this never becomes a victim of facadism. Some old historic office buildings bigger than that one have, and we'll be taking a look at some of those. And we're at Yonge and Adelaide, so let's start heading west down Adelaide. And this old historic building where the winter store is, you guessed it, is just a facade. Became part of the Scotia Plaza office tower development. I mean, it looks pretty nice. It just looks a bit tacked on, you know? Some of them are very obviously just a facade. Other ones, as I mentioned, are a lot more convincing and might fool you. This is just basically the front of an old building stuck onto a modern building. But as I said, it's better than it being completely gone forever and appearing only in old photographs. There are lots of nice old historic office buildings here on Bay Street. Most of them have survived fully intact, as you can see, but not all. You can see an example right here where this old office building is now part of the Bay Adelaide Centre. So that's all that's left is the western and northern facade of this old office building. The rest was demolished. But you'd never really know it. It just looks like an old tower beside a new modern tower. So that one's a bit better done.
So I'm just.
Question, so will we go away at the end of June?
Everyone is rushing to their GO trains at Union Station. You can see the other side of this building. And I was planning to walk down Temperance Street here. Hopefully I still can. It looks like there's a film, some on-location shooting here underway. There's a great example coming up of another old office building. In this case, it was completely torn down and then rebuilt brick by brick in facade form. But they slightly altered it. The number of floors is not exactly what it used to be, because they had to line up the old office tower floors with the new modern floors of the new tower. The new tower had higher floors than the old historic office building. But you can see the side of the old building here. It also has a bit of that tacked on look, as you can see.
So who would be on that?
That one was called the Concourse Building. Trying to get a good look at the front of it here, but guess what? Construction is sort of preventing me from doing that. There's the front facade of the old office building. They did a good job, though, at preserving the lovely mural here at the entrance. As you can see, it just sticks out a little bit, and that's all that's left of the building on this side. The new tower. As I mentioned, I think this is a couple of floors shorter now than it was before. But it's still there in some form. Right, let's head back to Bay Street. We're replacing all the streetcar tracks here on Adelaide. They're going to be put back into service, since Queen Street will be shut down for years due to the Ontario Line construction. So the Queen streetcars can no longer travel along Queen. So Adelaide is being put back into service. Now we can walk with the rush hour crowd heading south down Bay. St. Regis Hotel. I'm glad that most of these old office towers have been preserved fully intact over the years. It's a very long light here. I'm pretty sure the people outnumber the cars at this time of day. They think people would take precedence.
Oh, that's Simcoe. My bad. So should I go to university?
As you can see, despite recent reports of high vacancy rates in the office buildings of the financial district, it's still extremely busy at rush hour here. Doesn't look any less busy than pre-pandemic. At least not on Wednesday, and also Tuesday and Thursday are equally busy. And surprisingly, Monday and Friday are very busy as well, just not quite as busy. The media makes it sound like the financial district is a ghost town. I don't think they've actually sent anyone down here to walk around and take a look. They just look at statistics on vacancy rates and that sort of thing and declare downtown to be dead. Crossing King Street. This is the heart of the financial district. Maybe I'll cross because there's another building I want to get a look at. Maybe I'll see much better from this side of the street. It's nice to walk through the skyscraper canyons to get some shade also. The sun is blinding at times when I'm walking to the west. But here's the old Toronto Stock Exchange, which as you can see now is just one wall, one facade, tacked onto the front of this office tower in the Toronto Dominion Centre complex. Stock Exchange is now located in a nearby building, the Exchange Tower, but this was it at one time. Yeah, it looks quite nice, but obviously they didn't put too much effort into preserving that building other than one wall. One wall is better than none. All right, so I'm going to walk west along Wellington back towards the sun, unfortunately. Try to talk over the music coming from the Walrus. As I look south. That's right, you heard it, folks. The financial district is dead, according to the Toronto media. It's a ghost town. All the buildings are empty. No one is working in the financial district anymore, if you're to believe BlogTO and other media sources. I think they said the vacancy rate is 13%, which is high compared to what it was pre-pandemic when it was probably around 3%. But 13% is not falling off a cliff high. And I think most of that is in Class B buildings. I think the major Class A office buildings are doing much better. And the sun goes behind a building once again. I think I stumbled upon another case here that I wasn't even planning on. Here at York and Wellington, you can see another old facade of a historic building.
Is this can continue?
Yeah. Hey, thank you. Thank you. I'm just recording a video as we speak.
Shout out to subscribers.
Yeah, do you want to say hi?
Yeah, guys.
Yeah?
Shout out to subscribers. Subscribe to Ken, good guy.
Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated, man. Have a good day.
No worries.
So that looks to be just one wall as well. I don't think I even remembered that one until I saw it. Stand in the shade while I wait to cross, although no one seems to be paying much attention to this light, so when in Rome. So look south down York Street. This old office tower is fully intact, which is nice to see. And of course the Royal York, I think, is exempt forever from being victimized by facadism.
Leather skirt, like a pencil leather skirt.
right, here is University Avenue. Let's see if I can get across. Oh, the light is still green. Yeah, the next example is a brand new case of facadism. It might be the most recent one to open up. Lots of siren action today here in the financial district. Got multiple emergency vehicles heading down by Union Station over there. All right, now let me cross the street. Got both human and vehicle gridlock here.
Probably twice. But probably travel a lot.
It's quite bright with the sun here, but this old building is also completely torn down and rebuilt brick by brick in facade form. And it's now part of the new TD Terrace office tower. It's a brand new tower that just recently opened. And it looks convincing enough from here. You can see its neighbor there is still fully intact, of course, but all we get is a facade here, and I think a little bit around the side. But I remember watching that building get demolished floor by floor until it was completely gone, and then watching it be rebuilt floor by floor back up again. At Simcoe. A huge crowd here. I'm a big fan of this new building, by the way.
Here's your little pole.
heading north up Simcoe Street. There are a few more examples I had in mind. This is the downtown west area, aka the entertainment district, and there are a number of old warehouse buildings in this neighborhood, many of which have been facadized.
When you say no,
Crossing Wellington. And we'll head west just for a bit. I'm going to take a bit of a shortcut here to get us to our next building. It's Roy Thompson Hall, home of the Toronto Symphony Orchestra. Also appearing in such popular TV shows as The Boys and The Expanse, as a futuristic building. All right, so here's David Pico Square. A cool shot with the financial district looming behind Roy Thompson Hall. And here's An Eternal Flame. No relation to the Bangles song. And this is the Metro Hall complex. It's a relic from another era. You can see the reflection of the CN Tower in that office tower, but you can also see the very top of the CN Tower. And King Street. Transit priority corridor makes it easy to cross the street here. Vehicle traffic is restricted to make way for streetcar traffic. Beautiful new skyscraper is under construction here, designed by Frank Gehry.
Why does it don't have a patio?
This is north on Ed Mervish Way, which is also Duncan Street. And you can see some of these old warehouse buildings I was talking about in the area. This one here at the corner of Adelaide is another case of facadism. They tore down everything except this western wall and the northern wall of this old building, and then rebuilt, or they gutted everything and reduced it to 2 walls, as I was saying, and then they built the new tower rising up from within. And they had those steel reinforcing structures also in place, and that was reduced to 2 facades.
Oh yeah, home of the
There's a look.
$2 drinks. I bought a lot of $2.
They did a good job.
On the expense account. Back in the day.
From this corner, you'd never know that that building is pretty much all gone. And heading west on Adelaide. I think this old building will also become a future case of facadism. There's a development proposal with a new tower on this site. Truth be told, it'll probably end up looking a lot better than it currently does, even if it's just reduced to a wall or 2. And we're approaching John and Adelaide. I think there's just a couple more examples I have in mind here on this walk. We'll see how much longer. I'll try to keep this walk to an hour or so, not too much more than that. I think there's actually another example right here, though. The Marshall's building, as you can see, and its neighbor are just 2 facades tacked onto the front of the new, well, not so new now, but the Cineplex Scotiabank Theatre Complex. But that theatre complex is slated to be demolished and replaced with some new towers. So I wonder if they're going to retain the old facades once again for another redevelopment of a redevelopment. That would be interesting to see. So we're going to head south down John Street to Mercer Street. So this walk might come in at just about an hour or so. Longer than most of my pre-recorded walks. But today's a nice day to do a long walk like this.
The bag.
think the next couple of days are forecast to be very rainy, so I think a lot of people are making the best of today, getting out and doing things that they wanted to do, enjoying the nice weather.
I wouldn't mind.
I know, they're all in the fall and the winter.
And back at King again. It's obviously a bit of a zigzaggy sort of up and down, back and forth and all around walk here as I go from one building to the other. This was the best route I could come up with, the most efficient one. There's Restaurant Row right over there.
Yeah, so
It's not easy to walk here. And here is Mercer Street. And another example here. New towers. These are the Nobu buildings, a hotel and residential tower. And they just preserve the front of these old historic buildings. It looks decent. It looks more than just a tacked on front facade. It does have a bit of depth to it, at least. Mimics a real building. Let me walk through here. I've never done this before. This is the King Blue development. And back at King Street once again. And this will be the corner of the last example of facadism in this walk. Canadian Westinghouse Company, another old warehouse building. It was reduced to 2 walls. I think they did a good job with this one. Looks quite convincing. But that's it. That's my tour of some of the examples of facadism here in downtown Toronto on a very busy, very warm and pleasant Wednesday. Of course, there are many more throughout downtown and all around town, but I think I covered a good amount here within less than 1 hour's walking. So what do you think? Savior or sacrilege to Toronto's history? Are you pro-facadism, or you think it's the most horrible thing ever? Leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And also make sure you hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal, as well as via my merch store. And you can also support the channel by becoming a channel member, or by sending a super thanks if you prefer. And you can find me on Instagram under KContinuum. So thanks for watching, and be sure to keep checking back. And thanks to the channel members. And of course, as always, I will continue.